See, the bass is actually finally getting recognized in my voice.
Oh, that's why.
What did you do? No.
The whole time the low was on high. That's why it sounded so low last week. But it was because it was set to low the whole time.
But I want to sound like I have bass in my voice.
You can play around with that later, okay?
Now
this is a professional podcast, Sarah.
No.
We only do
it sounds shrimpy now.
The most top of the line audio production over here, okay?
You're making our voices sound like chipmunky.
What do you mean?
Like it sounds like high pitched.
This is what you actually sound like.
No,
Sarah.
it's not.
Just get used to
this
it.
This is not how I sound.
Yes, it is.
I literally listen to my voice every single guys, those that are listening and you listen to us every single week.
What?
Do I sound like this all the time?
Yes, you do.
It's really hot in this room, I'm telling you.
It's fine. I feel fine.
When you edit this,
yeah,
make sure you add this clip to the clip when you're sweating in 20
I'm not
minutes.
going to be sweating today. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, can I just say though?
What?
That, I know we referenced it last week, but I have to reference it again.
What?
Because our views doubled on that one clip about the stupid female thing.
Personally don't think it's derogatory, but you know, a certain community has said that it is derogatory, so I will oblige and continue to face it out of my vocabulary.
What is the word?
It starts with an fee and ends with a male.
You know, that term is not necessarily derogatory. It just depends on the context.
I feel, okay, let me say my point here, okay?
Tell us how you feel, Amir.
I feel like every context I've used it in has been appropriate, okay? Yet every time I say it, I get side eyes from every woman in the room.
You know what it is? It's whenever men feel like they can speak on a woman's experience and they choose to use the term females when they're generalizing.
Yeah.
People are so pressed on it. And actually, people are more pressed at the fact, like, I think they think that because you and I were speaking about it, that we were saying that it was an offensive term.
Yeah.
And like, I was just explaining what other people felt. I didn't even say how I felt. Neither did Amir. So I don't know why y'all out here attacking us.
Well, you did sort of say that.
No, I was just saying some people find it offensive because, and then I explained some of the reasoning. But even then, like, people, I don't know if do you get the notifications?
I do, but I
tried to silence it. It's not working.
Really?
Yeah. I keep doing like ignore, show me less of these, and they keep coming through.
Yeah, you gotta like stop all. But then again, you don't want to stop all notifications, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you know what? Honestly, I feel like it has less to do with specifically the word female and more with just people who are like, well, okay, some of the guys are like that who just are currently mad about that one issue. But generally, I feel like a lot of people are just annoyed that people are trying to police their speech.
Yeah.
And this is like their conduit to that.
It's because they just don't understand. And when you don't understand something, that's when you usually lash out or you try to bring your own reasoning to like why it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Like just say you don't understand. It's fine.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like nowadays, because everyone needs an opinion immediately, everyone feels like they should have an opinion immediately, it can lead to you reacting to things immediately without having all the facts or not knowing all the information or not thinking about it deeply. Like you give your initial reaction instead of thinking it over and then coming to some real conclusion on it. If
I learned one thing from this podcast, it's you don't always have to give a reaction right away or share your thoughts right away. You know, sometimes, and you guys have heard me on here and Amir, like if we genuinely don't know what to say or we don't have enough knowledge to speak on a topic, then and the other one is speaking on it, like sometimes Amir will bring up something and he'll ask me and I'm like, I don't have a comment because I don't feel like it's absolutely necessary to comment on every single thing.
Yeah, true. But that's the only thing that gets clicks, honestly, giving your initial reaction. Yeah. And a lot of people build audiences off of their extreme reactions, and you find later on that a lot of them don't even believe these things. Like, I don't know if you remember seeing this or hearing about this, but recently there was like a leak, or maybe it was a few months ago, there was a leak at Fox News. And remember how there's that whole like Trump voting scandal thing going on? On the front end or like on TV, you would see the host talking about, I know you're trying to suppress that. Why are you trying to suppress that, yawn? So hard. Your eyes are watering.
No, I told you, I would call
out every time. But going back to it, so there was that whole Trump situation where there was the voting scandal.
Yeah.
And on Fox News, the hosts like on TV were saying like we're propagating this, or like or not, I guess the word is propagating.
Yeah.
Or they were kind of speaking out about this and on Trump's side. Mm-hmm. But on the back end, in the text that they sent to each other, a lot of them knew that it was a lie. And like they were just like, oh, why is this guy going off again? Why do we have to support? Like this guy's making us support the most craziest things. Like they were talking shit about him behind the scenes and then acting like they were his biggest supporters on TV. It ended in them actually having to settle with the voting machine manufacturers for like hundreds of millions of dollars. I think it was like $250 million or something like that, because it came out that they knew that it was a lie.
They got paid to like silenced?
What do you mean?
The hundreds and millions of dollars that you
No. They got sued by the company that they were saying was modifying these machines to vote for Democrats. And it turned out to be untrue.
Yeah, but like,
and they had to pay up for it.
For us, I feel like, part of the reason why we're doing what we're doing is because we are remaining authentic and making, like, you're not going to see false reactions from us, or we're not going to share false opinions. Like, do our opinions change? Yeah. So like sometimes when we're recording something, we may feel a certain way, and then once it's uploaded, we may have like a discussion online as it happens, and then our opinions could change. And then we come back and we say, oh guys, guess what? We change our minds on whatever we spoke about.
That was a big issue on the internet too, where like a lot of people would come out very aggressive on one side of a argument, and then after speaking to certain people and finding more information or being given more information, they end up flipping and like maybe going to the other side, or maybe going somewhere more in the middle, and they're called out for that on both sides, first by the people who are who used to support them, and then also by the people on the other side being like, oh, why are you changing your mind now, blah blah blah. And it's almost like a lose-lose situation if you want to change your mind and you're very like aggressive on one side of the line, I guess.
I think that's why they get backlash though. If they weren't so aggressive in their thoughts or whatever, and they just changed their mind, I think it would be fine. But like if you're so like gung-ho about one specific thing and you're very like loud about how you feel about it, okay, fine, like whatever. But then you turn around and you're like so gung-ho again like the next week about the total opposite thing. I've seen that before.
That's just hard to be in the middle, man. That's all, that's how you live authentically, by coming to the middle and trying to realize that you don't know everything, and we're all in this learning process. We're just trying to
in this
together. I don't know.
You don't know the words?
I don't know the words. Welcome back to the Cousin
Connection podcast. Amir doesn't know the words to High School Musical.
Why would I know the new words to that?
Every millennial, maybe some Gen Z know the words to High School Musical.
I don't even remember watching High School Musical all the way through. Yeah. But to go back to that conversation, because I don't want to go back to that conversation, there's actually one, I guess, update or like other thought that I had on that. The question that came up afterwards was, so for men, like that's a more formal term. Usually the informal term will use guys. But for women, what is like the informal word for women? Because like you could say gals, but gals just doesn't sound right.
That's hella weird.
Like I'm not gonna start saying the gals. Or how the gals be. I'm like
girls,
what?
But like also like
even girls seems like it's like you're infantilizing. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Depends on how. Like I've used girls before. I'm referring to like my friends, but I've also used I honestly usually say the girls.
But the girls, I guess you could use the girls.
It depends on the context. I think like, yes, I get what you mean by the whole infantilize. Is that even a word, infantilizing?
Infantilization?
Sure.
Or I don't know. I don't know if that's the right word to be using in that context.
But I get what you mean.
But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Like I think it just depends on the. Dang. It depends on the context.
Yeah.
But I think it's fine to use. Like personally,
girls.
I think it's fine to use.
So we should use girls instead.
Like the casual, I guess, if you're talking about. Yeah, if you're... although I don't see anything wrong with saying men versus women or whatever, or male versus female, but okay, that's such a controversial topic. So
because I do see... The thing is, after that whole conversation we had and like putting up the clip and having all that reaction, I started like realizing how many people still use that word female, like because it's just a term. Like these guys are the most progressive people I know, or like at least they appear to be like they have no ill will towards women, but they just use the word female because like it's just become part of the lexicon of like slang terms.
Sure, but what I learned from reading the comments was that when you want to use the term female, it's more of an adjective, so it's used to describe something, like the female subject or the female dolphin.
No, but okay, but you could use that for any slang term. Slang terms, like, they're not supposed to. They have a definition. They have like an original definition for them, but then we use it differently for, like, we use it. I'm trying to think of a word right now that has that similar thing, like how you say stupid, right? Like stupid is to say, like, to call someone stupid, that's a derogatory term, right? But then
it's not a derogatory term.
Or not derogatory term. It's like a insult. It's an insult. But then you might say like something stupid for how good it is. Like that's stupid.
So 90s.
I know. Okay, I know that's so 90s. I know it's old. But like that's like an idea of a word that can be taken.
Has two different
meanings. Like it has an original meaning. I'm pretty sure that the original meaning of stupid is like supposed to be an insult.
Yeah.
But it's been flipped to have more of a positive connotation. What?
Cooked is one.
Cooked, exactly. Yeah. Like we're not actually literally meaning cooked, but we use it in like so many different contexts now.
Right.
So I feel like female has like fallen into that realm of like having multiple meanings.
Yeah.
I guess really it just depends on who's saying it. What I've noticed from women is that they just have an issue. It depends on who's saying it. And maybe those guys have ruined it for everyone else.
Yeah, I think it became pretty predominant in the like red pill.
Exactly. So I think community. It's because it was adopted by a community who has a very negative feeling towards women.
Yeah.
Then it kind of spoiled the word for everyone. Like it's like, it's essentially spoiled the word.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Where it couldn't be used in that context anymore, like in any context really, because it just has that weird. It has that irk. It has that little like. What do you call it?
Negative taste in your mouth.
Yeah, that taste that it leaves in your mouth now.
Mm-hmm. Can you pass me a tissue, please?
Why? Oh, for me?
Well, I need one too, but...
I thought you were going to be like, you might need one.
You do.
Do I?
Yeah.
No, I'm fine.
I'm fine. It hasn't even been 20 minutes.
Okay.
And you're sweating.
I'm not...
You're glistening.
Oh, shit.
Didn't he say, guys, 20 minutes ago, I'm not going to sweat. I just needed one to blow my nose.
Okay, so I guess girls is fine.
Yeah, I don't really see the issue in that. It all comes down to the context, you know?
I don't know, but just like referring to a group of like
women,
not elderly, but like,
you're not going to call like our moms, hey girls. Although I think
whenever I refer to like
us,
the dads, I say the guys.
But that's even that is a little like if they're older men and you call them the guys. I feel like guys is more of like a people.
Yeah, your level.
Age. Yeah, your age or younger.
Okay,
you know?
Out of respect.
Yeah,
I won't refer to them as guys anymore.
Yeah, honestly, I refer to our moms as the moms.
Yeah, we do, like or the dads.
Yeah. When have we ever called them the guys and the girls?
Yeah, I'm starting to think of other. I'm sure I have used it in that context, but I don't think like I can think of one right now. I wanted to start off the podcast with this, but I guess we kind of took another turn there. But this episode, we are recording this, I think, a day. It's been a day since there was a 6.8 magnitude earthquake in Morocco. In Morocco?
Why did you say
Morocco?
That? Yeah.
Shoot, I don't know why I said because it's spelled Morocco.
It's Morocco.
Yeah, but
me, you, and Gizman have had this conversation before.
We have.
Yeah, I remember.
Let's move on. So there was a 6.8 magnitude earthquake in Morocco, and unfortunately, it ended with I think 800 plus people and counting who have.
The death toll actually went up.
Yeah, exactly, in counting. So how much is
like 2,000?
No.
Yeah, I saw it on the news today.
2,000? No. I think it's 800 plus who have confirmed to have died from this, and then it's 1,200 people who are injured from it. I don't know if they've died yet. Yeah.
I could have sworn I saw 2,000. I was like, 2,000?
2,000 is pretty big.
That's what I said. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot more than what's being reported online, but I don't know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's another tragedy. It seems like we do this almost once a month now.
Yeah.
Where somewhere in the West, or sorry, in the East, there's a Muslim country most of the time where there's a large earthquake and thousands of people pass away from it. And of course, we'll probably put it in the description. There's a Islamic relief fund that's been set up for it to help out whoever's been affected by it. And it was weird because this was the first time where, like, because Morocco is like so tourist focused, or like it has a lot of tourists in it, I saw like firsthand accounts, or not accounts, but like firsthand accounts of it, where like people were filming as it was happening.
Oh yeah, because people were on vacation there.
Exactly.
I saw some footage too. I was like, whoa, that's and you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
I was actually gonna go there like in a couple weeks. Yeah, but then we kind of changed our mind and said, oh, we need longer to be in there.
Yeah. Well, it's not, I don't think it's much of an option right now.
Oh
yeah, I've seen the videos and the pictures, and it's crazy like how like the before and afters.
Yeah.
How buildings.
This is apparently the
whole cities, villages are all just crumbled.
Is the correct word the strongest earthquake that has taken place of the century?
Yeah, exactly.
Most severe?
Yeah. In the century in this country, I guess.
Do they have earthquakes often?
I'm sure. I don't know if it has how often it happens over there. Like maybe it's like California where they get like small ones here and there.
Oh, okay.
But I never heard of that place ever having a history of like a lot of earthquakes, right?
Or being like known for it.
Yeah, but then again, I never heard of Turkey ever having like a big history in earthquakes as well. And then they had like that severe earthquake that happened a few months ago as well, right? Or was it a few months ago? It feels like it's been only a few months ago now. I don't know.
Zooming by that.
It is.
It's a little blurring altogether. I don't know.
Time like dilates and then like contracts. It's so weird. It kind of like gets faster and shorter throughout the year.
I know. I'm just like, oh yeah, that was just 2 weeks ago. And it's like, no, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know about 2 years. That's a little
It
crazy.
happens sometimes.
Really?
Okay. Maybe not like that. That's extreme. Yeah. 2 weeks versus 2 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So actually another aspect to this I wanted to speak on, because this happens a lot in Muslim countries. And the thing is that like these are very severe earthquakes, but there are things that you put in place and like infrastructure that can be set up to avoid the excess of damage that actually happens. And like you'd think because these are Muslim countries, they have Muslim politicians who would want to look out for their people. They would kind of introduce regulations and try and you don't like that route I'm going down?
I think that a lot of like, unless it's who knows if they even have the money to actually even implement those things. Yeah. You know?
That's well, a lot of the times the governments, they do have the money. It's just a matter of whether or not they want to help the people, right?
Yeah. Which is crazy because like, what's the point of you being a leader of that nation if you're not trying to help out? It doesn't make any sense.
And the route that I was kind of going to go down is like, should we not only put in funds for like helping the people, but maybe funds for helping them build better infrastructure so this doesn't happen again. So like starting to set up charities where instead of just going to the people, it goes to building buildings that would be up to code and would actually be able to survive a 7.0 magnitude earthquake, or at least not crumble to pieces with a severe earthquake, because that's pretty big. Like 6.8 is a pretty massive earthquake. Most buildings would have a tough time holding up after that, but at least if they're built correctly, they may not completely crumble and crush everyone inside them, which is what happened here in this case.
I mean, I don't think it's up to us though, right? Because like we can raise the money, but at the end of the day, the building guidelines will fall on whatever country it's in, right?
No. I'm saying like the country has minimal building guidelines, like, but if you want to put more money into it, you can continue and like build your building specifically to be even stronger than what is necessary by the system.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea. I'm not going to say don't do it, but also, like, is it everybody else's responsibility in the world to ensure that one country, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of...
Yeah, it is kind of hard because you don't know where it's going to happen next. You don't know, but I guess that's comes down to people doing the work and figuring out which countries are the most susceptible to these things happening, and then starting from there, and then maybe growing outwards, and maybe even working with the governments. But it's hard to work with governments. That's the issue, right? Yeah, we talked about that last week.
That's what I was gonna say. But.
So, but yeah, like this is it's affected. It's of course it's going to be more focused from the Muslim community. It's going to get more focus from the Muslim community because this is a Muslim country and mostly Muslims are affected by this.
Maybe it's because I follow a lot of Muslim people, but I saw a lot of people posting the relief funds.
Even non-Muslim people?
I wasn't paying attention. I just saw it like very often, and I was like, wow. Yeah. You never really see this that much, like where there's that much support.
Usually it's whenever there's something as severe as this kind of earthquake, no?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so that was just something I thought about. I was like, how do we... Because my thing is whenever something like this happens, of course it's a tragedy, and like I feel for the people there, but I'm always like, how is this preventable? Like what could have been done to prevent this from even reaching the level it has? Because earthquakes happen all around the world. They happen in from China all the way to America, but you don't hear these death tolls or these high death tolls. You don't hear about these high death tolls. Yeah, no, because they can be as severe. The earthquakes can be as severe, but it's because the regulations in these different countries differ so vastly, right? And I feel like the people who are the most vulnerable usually live in the countries that have the most relaxed regulations when it comes to these things. So maybe it's up to us as an ummah to come together and help these people in some way, because the government's definitely not going to do it.
Well, maybe now this experience, this tragedy will kind of nudge them to be like, maybe we should revisit our building guidelines.
So? You think so?
What you doing over there?
Huh?
What you doing over there?
Don't worry about what I'm doing over here. But you think so?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Maybe. If there's a push from other political leaders and the people of the
corruption? No, it's my eyes. My
corruption.
Eyes. Yeah.
What corruption?
No, the corruption in governments.
Is the Moroccan government corrupt?
Every government is corrupt in some way.
That's a big generalization.
Is it though?
What happened to Husna then?
I don't know if I should think better about these guys, man. I don't know what they're doing. There.
Are all of them corrupt? Like, is it really fair to say that every single government body is corrupt around the world? There's not a single government that is like actually just.
I think what do they say that? What's that saying again? Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
I've never heard that.
Well, essentially, just having power will corrupt almost anyone, because like you want to hold on to that power. You want to be able to.
I feel like this is an English class debate.
What?
Does power truly corrupt?
It does.
So do you think if you come into a position of power that you would then turn corrupt?
No, but you're also working. I personally don't think I would be corrupt, but you're also working in a system where you have like hundreds of people. It's not only you who has control, unless this is like a monarchy. If it was a monarchy.
But power can come in many forms. It's not just ruling a nation. Power can come through having excess wealth, a high position.
No, wealth does not equal power.
What?
Okay. Wait. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah,
like it doesn't automatically mean that you have power. It gives you access to the people with the power.
AKA you have power.
What?
If you have access to people with power and they can do things for you, that means you have power. It's like, for example, Amir, if you were very wealthy and I was like, I need to get to LA like tonight, but the tickets are crazy and the next flight isn't until tomorrow morning, and you're like, hold up, let me call my people. I'll get you a flight in like an hour. Yeah. That's power.
No, but then the people, if they know that if they know that they need you or you need them, if they know that you need them, then they still technically have more power over you, no matter how much money you have.
Yeah, I'm sure there's always going to be someone.
Especially if it's power. A very like niche thing that like only they have access. That person you're trying to pay off or get something from, they know that they're the only person who has access to whatever you're trying to get to.
Unless it's some exclusive something, you can get a private jet anywhere. So,
but that's simple. Like
I know that's
I'm talking about like making like political change. It's significant political change.
But there will always be someone that is more powerful than you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you are in a position of power,
yeah,
usually, and this is a generalization, but usually you have somewhat of an ability to manipulate to get what you need, to get what you want, right?
Yeah.
So, and that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what level of power you're at. You could be in the middle. You could be at the very top. You could be somewhere in between those. Mm-hmm. If you have a position of power, as long as you know how to get it, like.
But wait, what's the argument? The argument is I'm saying
because you're saying
that
like
power corrupts
all, and then I asked you, do you think you would be corrupted if you were in a position of power? You said no.
I said no.
Why?
But then again, I don't know who I would be if I had reached that level. Because a lot of the times to even reach those levels of power, you have to do some pretty grimy things. Yeah.
That's an assumption.
And there are examples, I guess, of people who reached higher levels of power that were good people and it didn't ultimately corrupt them. Like, I don't know, Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela fought up against apartheid in South Africa. He went to jail, but then he actually became the prime minister or president. I think prime minister of South Africa. And from what I can tell, he didn't have a negative reputation afterwards.
I might be making this up,
but I don't have that much information on exactly what happened after he got into office.
I feel like there was a scandal about him. I just don't remember. Maybe I'm making that up though.
See, so even then, even the people we think are pure.
But do you feel? And this is a question about morality now. Do you feel like someone who has good morals in life before they come into a position of power?
Yeah.
Do you feel like those morals would be strong enough to save them from becoming corrupt when they are in the position of power?
Yes, but then maybe there's something you want to do, and the only way you can get what you want to do passed or whatever thing you want to get implemented is to work with people who are corrupted. So no matter what, like even if you yourself aren't corrupted by this power, you're still going to have to work with these people who are corrupted by it, and you may have to do things that you as an individual wouldn't normally do, but you feel like the ultimate goal is worth taking these personal, I guess, hits to your not character but like your morals, right? It's the whole thing of the path to hell is paved with good intentions. There's a lot of sayings we keep saying here.
Interesting. I've never heard that one before.
There's something about good intentions is a path to negative, something like that, right? Sure. But you feel like the ultimate goal will help so many people that whatever moral, I guess, what was the word I used before? Moral breaks or no? Come on, help me here, Sada.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
I'm trying to say like
moral injustice.
No, but like whatever you have to do that may go against your morals.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it is. At least help me rephrase these things.
I thought that's what you were trying to get at.
Okay, you know I'm bad at trying to explain my thoughts and feelings about certain things.
I usually do help you finish your sentence.
Okay, nah, you should have seen the face she was making, guys. She was like, boy, you on your own.
First of all, that's not true.
That's true. I said
it was more like, "Come on, little bird, fly."
No. The mouth was like, "You gonna figure this out? Sound out the letters." But yeah, so like, you may go in saying you're only gonna do things the right way, but then you realize quickly that in order to get the things done that you want to get done, you're gonna have to get down and dirty. And to the outside observer, it's going to look like you were corrupted by power. You may not feel like you're corrupted by the power. And I'm sure a lot of the people who are in high places feel like they're not corrupted by the power that they currently have. But it's because they're looking at it from their perspective. They feel like the things that they're working towards, like whatever they're doing now will be worth it because it'll benefit a lot of people. But then by the time they get there, they realize that like it was all for nothing and they're really just being taken advantage of by other people who were around them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So
I see what you mean.
Okay, maybe just to kind of work on your side a bit, saying like power absolutely corrupts everyone, maybe too extreme.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that it's happened enough to where it's more of the rule than the exception.
Yeah. Okay, I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
because right now you're trying to make a case for the exception.
Well, because you know, there's one saying in my mind, and I've quoted it so many times on this podcast.
This is a podcast of sayings. Look, they not getting them right, but still.
You can probably guess which saying I'm going to say. But like when it comes to the question that I asked you about,
are you gonna say more money, more problems?
How did you know?
This girl, come on.
How did you know? How the hell did you know?
No,
how did you know?
I just knew you were going down that route. You said that like 5 times now, Sada. We can't be saying.
I'm so shook right now. How the hell did you know?
I knew it was so obvious.
Because we're talking about like it's true, yo.
Yeah, but power. No, I feel like you can be someone who doesn't have money but still has a lot of power. We've seen it with cops.
They have a lot of money. Trust me.
Okay, no, but like not like a significant amount to where it justifies the amount of times that they abuse the power that they have.
Yeah, there are...
Like, it has nothing to do with the money they're making.
But...
It's just the fact that they had that power, and sometimes they get in a power trip.
There's a title to this concept, but, like, you know when the negative looks like it outweighs the positive because the negative is just more broadcasted? Mm-hmm. Like, it makes it look like there are more crooked cops than there are good cops.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But is that the actual reality, that there are more bad cops than good cops? I don't know if that's actually the reality.
Yeah, but then you can make that case. Sorry, I'm like, I'm very emotional about this, so I'm just rubbing my eyes with the tissue. That's what it is. But then that goes back to what the other side is saying, is that usually they're like, yeah, but why aren't these quote unquote good? They call them quote unquote good cops calling out these bad cops, because it's almost like the bystander effect. Right, where like you're seeing there, and actually there was that recent case where the woman, I don't know if you saw this, there was a woman who got hit in the face with a brick because she turned away a guy.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, and all these guys were around her and did nothing about it.
You know what?
So does that mean that all those guys are bad too? Like, you can make a case for both sides.
I feel like times have changed. If we were talking about like 30 years ago, before our time, guys were more likely to stand up for women, or like men were more likely to stand up for women, or just like if they saw that something was wrong, they would stand up for it. But I feel like,
is that really the case?
Back in the day, yeah. And I just feel like now violence is so
what
prominent.
Back in the day are you referencing though?
30 years ago.
We don't have. Do you think that was the case? Do you think guys would have stood up more for women back in the day? I don't know if people have changed that much.
You know what it is? The violence is much more prominent. Maybe like here in the city. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much more prominent now that like you could be just trying to defend somebody and then someone pulls out a gun or a knife on you. And all you're doing is just defending them to just call it out. Yeah. Which I don't think it's bad to hold other people accountable, but like at the expense of your own life now. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you think that the people who were not doing anything feel like they were doing it for their own safety?
Probably, because you never know, like, especially in a city like Toronto. Oh, I don't know where that girl is from. Is she from Toronto?
No, I think it was like somewhere in America. I don't know.
Even worse. Even worse. You know what I mean? Where like they just have guns out in the open there. So depending on the state, if she's in the South, no chance. No chance. Yeah. Maybe you'll have someone defend you. That's if they have their own gun or something. But like, it's sad. But, you know, I don't know if you've seen those like TikToks and stuff online where... And it's funny because it's relatable, but it's actually not funny. What? The lengths that some people go through, like women go through whenever, like, if they're going on dates or something, they have to text, they have to share their live location with a friend, or be like, hey, if you don't hear from me in 2 hours, like, yo, it's not like the theory, the concept of like, I'm just going out for dinner and I'll be back. Doesn't seem like a harmful thing. Yeah. Right? But the fact that we're taking all these precautions and like saying, this is where I am, this is where we're going to be, this is the guy's license plate or what his name is and his phone number, just in case you need to like track him down or whatever. Like, it's so crazy. I don't know. I just feel like the world that we live in has pushed people to be more precautious.
Speaking of, men that we have to be wary of, do you know who Danny Masterson is? Oh, you know this? So from That 70s Show, he was one of the main I forget which character he played, what his name was. But he was an actor who became famous or well known for his character on That 70s Show. Mm-hmm. And recently, he was sentenced to 30 years for graping, because I want to use that word on here, the R word.
Was he actually sentenced?
Yeah, sentenced 30 years.
On 2 counts, not the third one.
Yeah, for 2 counts of graping women. I'm trying to get canceled, not canceled, what do they call it? Demonetized here. And there was actually, first off, a horrible thing that he did there. But there was actually a video, because in his case or in his trial, there was actually a video submitted by Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
Wasn't it a letter?
Oh, sorry, a letter. Yeah, a letter submitted by Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, basically talking about like his character, Danny's character, and like how he's such a good friend, and how they think of him like an older brother, and all these things. And they were, of course, like completely just called out for it.
Of course they
on
were.
The internet, because I think they didn't think that it would come out, it would come to light.
But like, this happened to Iggy Azalea when she wrote that letter of support for.
Yeah, because I think people
Lane.
just maybe they don't realize that like a lot of this stuff can be public information.
Yeah.
So that came out, and then I don't know if they came out with an apology. I don't think they came out with an apology. Did they?
Now they did. Yeah.
No. At the time when that letter was submitted.
No.
Okay. Well, now that he was sentenced, they actually came out with an apology video being like, hey, you know, we didn't think he actually did it, you know, or maybe no. Actually, they said we believe all women, or we believe.
They said they didn't mean to belittle the experience that they went through, but what they were saying in the letter was talking about the person Danny and not the accused Danny.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
Which still, I don't know if that would excuse.
Yeah, they separated him from his actions, which like,
yeah,
in this case, I don't know if you could do that, you know?
Exactly.
Because of the nature of his actions.
And I feel like they wouldn't have done that if they felt like there was even a chance that he would have actually done these things. So yeah, so they were getting called out for, first off, making this apology video. And the thing about apology videos is that like, it's a lose-lose situation. Because you can come out with the apology video and you'll get people like critiquing how you look in the apology video, what you say in it, and just every aspect of it. But then, what?
I was going to say apology videos are like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a lose-lose situation. But then if they didn't come out with one, they would be called out for that as well.
Yeah.
So like, what do you do in that case?
I think there's a proper way to make an apology video. The first thing is it's like making an apology in real life, right? Acknowledge that what you've said was a mistake.
Yeah.
Show that you've reflected on it, and then show what you're going to do to, like, I guess, support the side that you offended. So, for example, in their case, they should say, like, either they didn't have all the facts when they wrote this letter, or they didn't actually hear it, which it's still bad, right? Like, a mistake is a mistake. But they should then be uplifting the victims that came forth with the situation that happened to them. And, you know, when you're in a position of, like, when you're a celebrity of that sort of caliber, you could speak up against incidents like that, right? And you can uplift those and encourage them to speak up and get their justice.
But a lot of the things they're saying are, like, things that they could have said in the video. Yeah. But I've noticed that a lot of the critiques, and maybe this is just because it's the most upvoted stuff that you normally see and it's not really what people are upset about, is like, oh, of course they're doing this, like, and they're trying to make it look natural by doing it with no makeup on, and, you know, they're sighing at the beginning of the video, they look sad. I'm like, they're making an apology after one of their friends was sentenced to 30 years for doing some horrible thing that they couldn't even believe that he would have done, right? So, like, how else are they supposed to look? Are they supposed to, like, and even if they got all glammed up, or not glammed up, but if she put on makeup and he got in, like, some nice clothes away, and they both got in some nice clothes and set up a nice camera and all that, then they'll be like, this is too produced. So that's what I'm also saying. It's like a lose-lose situation. No matter what you say, people are just gonna critique the things that aren't really important to what's being said in the video, and calling you out for that.
Yeah, you're right, honestly.
See? So that's why it's always kind of weird the internet's kind of weird on those things, especially when it comes to apology videos.
I feel like I've seen my fair share of apology videos on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Someone on YouTube's always saying something wrong and then having to apologize for it.
And would you say like, let's say, actually this case is like really extreme, but let's say like I was accused of a murder, but like I'm me as a person, like the person you know right now is accused of murder, and they told you to write out a letter about my character.
I would write a letter based on what I know of you.
Okay, so you're a ride or die then. And how if it came out
that you actually murdered someone?
That I actually murdered someone.
Well, shit, I guess I'm going to jail too because I'm a murderer. Your ass for murdering somebody.
Jump over the bars or like bars.
Let me talk to him real quick. What was the reason?
Yeah, I wouldn't do the same thing for you. What was that? I'm playing.
Cut the cameras. Cut the cameras.
I'd be like, sometimes, she does go quiet and like she does act a little weird.
What?
Like sometimes we'll get into arguments and I'll be scared for my life a little bit.
Get out of here. One time she threatened to kill me.
Yeah, so. And honestly, like now that she's being accused, probably true. She would have done it. Actually, we're going to be back in just a second and we'll continue this conversation. And we're back. And to continue the conversation, okay, I had another question. I know that they say murder is horrible, but now I'm starting to think, like, is Grape worse than murder in your eyes? Because, like, I feel like the reaction to it is, at least in society, is very, like, different on extremes. Like, a murderer eventually can be forgiven, and maybe they're not forgiven by the people family that they murdered, but like a lot of times like they'll be accepted back by their family depending on how horrible that murder is. But then no matter what type of sexual weird thing that you did to someone, whether it's like they're all severe, but no matter what type you've done, you're most likely going to be ostracized from society like altogether, and you're not going to be allowed back. Like there's no even chance of you coming back or making amends in any way. What?
I'm thinking. Okay. I feel like there's no right answer to this because both crimes can impact people in different ways, right?
Yeah.
With murder, there's no going back from that. Mm-hmm. Once you murder someone, they're gone, right? Yeah. Like they're gone. That being said, there are different scenarios of murder. There are accidental murders where you accidentally kill somebody, which could happen.
Yeah.
Like you could accidentally run someone over.
Yeah.
Or you're in a car accident, for example. Mm-hmm. So it's a tragedy. Yes. Mm-hmm. Is there guilt? Yes. Is there probably punishment? If you get caught? Yes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
With grape, you can't accidentally grape somebody. Mm-hmm. I've never heard that in my life. Maybe I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, you can't accidentally assault someone sexually. Mm-hmm. You do it with intent. Well, whether you're intoxicated or not is a whole other conversation.
I would kind of separate two. You said you can't accidentally sexually assault someone, but that can also be a very broad term because like there are certain cases which are still argued on the internet where like someone calls out something as sexual assault, but a lot of the mostly men on the internet don't consider that certain act to be sexual assault.
Maybe because their understanding is different, right? Mm-hmm. Like for example,
but like it's very but Grape is like very clear.
Okay, if we're speaking specifically about that act, you can't accidentally do that to somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's no accident. It's someone says no, you consistently use force. Mm-hmm. Where's the accident? Where's the misunderstanding?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now.
No, but even then, sorry. Okay, because I'm trying to make like cases on, but it's really horrible, There can be cases where like you thought that this was a consensual act that you were doing with another person. But unless you hear
yes or yes, okay, whatever, how can you understand?
Well, that's what a lot of the conversations on the internet are currently surrounded around, right? Like where like there's been a case where maybe at the time they both thought of it as something consensual, but then later on a girl will come out saying after thinking about it, or like maybe after speaking to some friends, they they realized that like it wasn't actually consensual, or they first convinced themselves that it was, but later on they realized that it wasn't, because like whenever someone's engaging in those acts, sometimes you don't get an immediate yes, or you don't get an explicit yes.
So you just start without getting a yes?
Like they'll be like, oh, we're in the heat of the moment kind of thing. Yeah, that's why it's very muddy, right? But
if I were a man, and maybe this is because I'm speaking about this from the lens of an actual woman, but if I were a man, if I didn't hear a very clear yes, I'm not even going to touch you.
I don't know if that's how most interactions kind of usually
No, but like
go.
in
maybe
like,
these days things have changed. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
In today's climate,
yeah,
where it's very unfortunately kind of common, and it's also I know there are a lot of people that are still silenced, or they're not comfortable speaking out about it.
Yeah,
but there have been a lot of people in the last like little while that have been able to, like, people are more championed to speak up about it, and speak their truth and whatever, you know.
Well, okay, to get back to the original question, is which one is seen? I'm thinking more like socially, or within society, because you've heard of a lot of cases where murderers, of course, it depends on what type
of a murder being forgiven though. When have
not forgiven, but they're allowed back into society, and sometimes they even like end up being advocates against, because it depends on like usually
a convicted
murderer?
Like
like if they were a murderer, if they're involved in gang violence and they murder someone within a gang, and this is all like a territory dispute. Usually, sometimes a lot of those murderers end up becoming spokespersons or like advocates against gang violence, and they become speakers. They talk about their history of being in a gang and being convicted for murdering another gang member, and then so that's. But you can never see that for someone who was convicted of sexual assault, and then they come back and talk about, okay, what do they call it? What's
Condoning?
that word? No. What's that word when you come back and you like, what's the reason of prison? What is it to do?
Oh, reform?
Yeah, I'm reformed now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't hear about a reformed
assaulter.
What's
the word?
There's a word for it.
Yeah.
Grapist?
No.
Yeah, reformed grapist, essentially.
Sure.
You don't hear about a reformed grapist who comes out and is speaking against it, but like it still would not be accepted within society, even though they say they no longer do that.
To be honest, I've never heard of a murderer either.
How have you never heard? Half the gang members, half the rappers, like original rappers, were like speaking about their history with gang violence and like killing other people.
Who spoke about killing people? The only one is like probably Suge Knight, but he wasn't rapping about it. He was a producer, allegedly.
Who? Suge Knight? Well, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like if I say anything without information on like exactly what they've done,
I know.
I don't want to say names,
But I just
what?
Maybe.
Remember, I'm not talking religiously.
I know. Maybe
I'm talking just society-wise.
Societal views.
Yeah.
Maybe Grape is probably seen as worse because the person's still living and has to live with that like torture, and the lasting effects like last forever. Whereas with murder, the person's gone, so they're no longer suffering, but their family is now suffering. So in a way, you're not with. I don't know. It's really hard to say which one's worse, because with Grape,
I think it's a lot. It's very clear which one is seen as worse. Depending on what it is.
I feel like Grape is you're ending somebody's life. Yes, Grape is bad. It's bad. Assaulting someone's bad, like horrible. But you're ending somebody's life. How could you even say something's worse than ending someone's life?
Okay, but then let's say there's a person who murdered someone and then someone who raped another person. But then the murderer makes a case where like, I was in a certain mindset, I was maybe on some drugs and like I did these things. And like I was living a very negative lifestyle that led me to be in a certain state where I felt like I had to murder someone, or they were in an interaction where they felt like they had to. But then like a grapist says the same thing where like, I wasn't in the right place, I was on drugs, I was surrounded by people, the wrong people, and I felt like maybe I had to do a certain thing. Like, which one do you think would be more accepted or eventually would get a better reaction?
Neither, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the internet, at least the internet and society, would kind of look at them slightly different. Even if it's a very minuscule difference, I feel like the Grapist would be like slightly worse.
I don't.
Because you just that act is like you're taking someone who's vulnerable. You're taking advantage of someone who's vulnerable, and like violating them, and then making them live with that violation.
Or you're taking someone who's vulnerable and you kill them, and you end their life. And you make their family suffer for the rest of their life. I'm not justifying the other one, but I'm just saying, like...
You know what? Okay, I feel like we're not going to find a middle ground here. Yeah. Let's go to the comments. So if you actually made it this far and listened to this part, let us know what you think would be viewed as worse in society. Right? Even if, just to make that note, like the asterisk, even if like the difference is very minuscule, like one is just slightly worse than the other, like in my eyes, I feel like the Grapist is going to be worse. Like, note it down in the comments and let us know. We'll check it out and see who was mostly right here. You know, there's no right answers, but you know, someone's got to be mostly right. I'm just saying. Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But does it make you kind of like, there's fireworks going off. Yeah, but does it make you second guess like how, because I'm sure that Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher looked at Danny's like he was like the nicest person they knew. They saw him as like an older brother. They didn't think that it was even possible that he could have done something like this because of how he presented himself to them. But does that not make you like second guess like every relationship you're having? Like is how you feel like you can know a person so well, but at the end of the day, like we don't really 100% know a person. Someone could look like the most like God-fearing and like pious person in the world, but then secretly being like, I don't want to say a specific thing, but like doing something that would be seen as deplorable in society in the background, but just no one knows about it because they put on this face.
Yeah, but Islam teaches you to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? So what is concealed between you and your Lord, like you know, just ask Allah to continue to conceal your sins, I guess. Yeah. Because imagine if everyone's sins
I'm not talking about only sins that like...
No, okay. Acts.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what you mean. Like, in that sense, I don't want to trouble my mind to now second guess all of the relationships I have with people. Like, I wonder if he's a murderer. I wonder if she does this. I wonder, you know what I mean? Like, why? I'm just gonna mind my own business.
Yeah, because there are a lot of cases like that. Like, have you ever watched those serial murder? Is that what they call them? Serial murder?
Serial killer?
Oh, sorry, serial killer. Have you ever watched those like serial killer documentaries? A lot of the times when it comes to serial killers, they say like, oh, they were charismatic. They were, at least some of them were like charismatic. They seemed like they were very involved in the community. They were they're seen as like a positive person. And a lot of the times their family or their parents would be like, oh, there's no way they've done this. Like, there's no chance, this is impossible. They can't even imagine that this person would do this. And like, they found out this person has killed like 84 people and has been like hiding their bodies in their house the whole time.
Are serial killers that good though? Like, you can't, they're really good at putting on a mask in front of their friends,
because a lot of it is psychological too, right? Like, they can like disconnect that side of them.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I don't watch or listen to serial killer.
You don't watch those
content?
Things?
No.
I hear that women are like...
Yeah, a lot of women are into that, but I'm not one of them.
You're not? Okay.
Nope.
But I guess it'll like affect your... You
know what it is? It just makes me become more paranoid. Yeah. And like anytime I watch thrillers and stuff, like I just feel like 10 times more paranoid, and I can't.
That's why I don't watch scary movies, man. Paranoia. I don't do that. I don't know why you guys still do it, but I ain't doing that.
I just finished the latest season of Top Boy. And I'm it wasn't scary per se.
Yeah.
But it's very gruesome. Like,
that's the thing. I didn't watch this season that came out and the one before that because it just got too like violent.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's like just the harsh reality of that world.
It is, but I don't want to see it on TV. Like, yeah, I know what's happening.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want someone dramatizing it, doing a dramatization of.
Honestly, like I would
things that are going on in the world.
To give a review on the latest season because I have my thoughts. If any of y'all are Top Boy fans or have watched the latest season,
maybe now I'll have to watch the last 2 seasons.
Season 2 was really good.
Yeah,
it's actually worth watching. Season 3, I don't want to tell you because I don't want to. That's
the latest one.
Yeah, I don't want to taint your image of it.
Yeah.
So maybe give it a watch, and we might actually end up doing a review. I know you guys kind of liked the review that we did of whatever that show was called.
Which
I don't know.
Oh, Last of Us.
Last of Us.
The one you never finished.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. I don't know.
But hey, if y'all want to, if you guys want to hear about Top Boy, I could gladly write up a report for you.
Okay, so I'll watch it now.
Okay.
And we'll come back on that. Okay.
All right.
But speaking of like how there are other, did you hear about that case of the nurse who was like killing babies to get the attention of her like coworker?
What?
You never heard about this in England?
No.
Yeah, there was a nurse. I think her name was like Lucy Letby. She killed 7 babies.
What?
Yeah, by like doing the most horrible things. She was giving them like lethal doses of different medicines or like.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and she would sometimes even take like a syringe, fill it with air, and like put it into their blood. Yeah, like horrible things.
Why? Why was she doing this?
Because apparently she was doing this to like get the attention of one of her coworkers who would like come down, who would work with her more because these things were happening. I don't know. She was crazy. Yeah.
And she had a crush on him?
Yeah. And
it's not that serious.
It's
7 innocent babies' lives were. Yeah. Wow.
And the thing is that there were other doctors who actually came out and like said, hey, like we never had this significant amount, is this number of babies dying on us? Like we got to investigate.
They didn't do like an autopsy on these babies' bodies?
They weren't doing autopsies because a lot of times these babies were newborn, like just born.
Oh my God,
so they thought that they died from natural causes.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Imagine the parents like.
Exactly. Ugh. And they were told like to investigate this, and I believe she was even called out. But then she put on the tears. She said, why would you guys think I did this? Like she denied it completely.
And none of the parents sued the hospital?
Well, now it came out that she did this, right? So and she was just sentenced for it. But after she like gave them the waterworks and everything and said that she didn't do it and denied it, it wasn't further investigated. There were not any autopsies done or anything like that. Just because they're like, oh, what are the chances this lady did it? Like, because she put on this face of being like, oh, a goody nurse. I don't know what you say, like a good person. So it could be anyone, man. I'm just saying right now.
Really messed up.
But yeah, there's horrible things going on in the world right now.
Damn, you're gonna let the episode end that way?
Okay, what else do you want to talk about?
I actually had a topic, but I completely forgot because of. You just threw me off my game today. Okay,
guys. Thank you again for listening to this podcast. We got to stop here because we have to pray. It's about to come out. That's how long we've been recording for. But then again, remember to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, follow us on all our platforms, keep running up the numbers on all of our clips. We're going to continue putting them out, increasing the production on those. And also... Don't forget, this week we actually came out. Today we came out with the vlog. So
Sunday for whoever's watching.
Yeah, Sunday right now. But by the time you see this, it's already going to be out there. So make sure to watch the vlog. It's going to be of our first, basically 4 or 5 days in Sweden. And give me some feedback on the editing. Remember, this is only like my second vlog. This is my real first official vlog that I've edited. So I'm kind of still on my training wheels. I'm still trying to figure things out. So leave as much critiques in the comments as you can.
Don't be too harsh about the actual vlogging because I was very uncomfortable the whole time.
Oh, the actual vlog? Okay.
Yeah.
Critique the editing then.
Yeah.
And let me know how that is so I can improve for next time. Inshallah, we'll have a few more coming out. And we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye.